Hello and welcome to the Philippines. It is almost that time again. In fact, it is that time again because freight is getting backed up and being delayed at many ports around the world. This is the time of year when many overseas Filipino are sending boxes of goods back to their families in the Philippines. And especially during the Christmas season, people have been collecting items to ship back to their family. Part of the culture here. They can do it all year long, and there are many companies that provide the boxes. You pay a certain flat rate for the size box that you use, and you can fill that with as much stuff as you can pack in there. And usually goes by ship. Can take many weeks to a couple months or more, especially presently. They can go by air, and we'll get into some of the details about that, what's allowed, what's not allowed. The Bureau of Customs, the Philippine government and the Bureau of Customs many years ago set up a program where Filipinos do not have to pay customs fees and taxes on many items up to certain limits, and we'll go over some of that details. First, this comes from Wikipedia. A Balikbayan box, literally repatriate box, is a corrugated box containing items sent by overseas Filipinos known as Balikbayans, literally returning to the country nation. Though often shipped by freight forwarders specializing in Balikbayan boxes by sea, such boxes can be brought by Filipinos returning to the Philippines by air. Now, this is very important, and you don't want to screw this up if you're visiting Filipinos. Pasalubong is the is the custom here in the Philippines and even other countries, I believe, where Philippine travelers, domestic or foreign, and it would include many of you as well, expats coming here to visit, are expected to bring gifts for family, friends, and colleagues. Now, I know many of you have made comments about, yeah, I made a trip back to the Philippines and one large suitcase was just gifts for the family and friends and colleagues over there. And it is a bit of an insult, I guess, if you don't bring these types of gifts. And I've even, if I go to Dumaguete and come back, I've had people expect when I came back, where's my gift? And there are shops in the ports, in the piers and ports, and in those areas to buy pasalubong, if I pronounce that correctly, probably not, but to buy gifts for the family returning. And it might be anything from pork rinds to more expensive gifts. So it's really up to you and your budget and your family, friends, and colleagues. I had a similar thing happen when I visited China over 15, 20 years ago. And fortunately, I brought a gift for the person that I was meeting. And they actually had a gift for me as I arrived. And I would have been very, very embarrassed and if I had not brought a gift. So be aware of the customs of the country. I'm going to get into a few specifics about boxes, sizes, costs involved, those types of things, what things you cannot are not allowed to ship. But first, let's go over to the Bureau of Customs, and they have some information here. It's not the most exciting always, but it is the information that you need to know. And let's go down here. Who are entitled to duty and tax-free privileges? Returning Filipino residents, overseas Filipino workers, overseas Filipinos. Are Balikbayans also entitled to duty and tax-free privileges? Yes, Balikbayans usually means somebody who's been continuously out of the Philippines for a period of at least 1 year are entitled to that privilege. And there are some limits to that. What is the extent of the duty and the tax-free privilege for returning residents? Now, here's another point that comes up. I know that there are a number of expats, foreigners here They're married to a Filipino. They are they ship. They're in another country in the world, and they ship Balikbayan box this direction. And back in 2015, when I first came to the Philippines, there was kind of got stirred up a little bit. I think the Bureau of Customs decided to start inspecting a lot of these boxes, and there was a lot of pushback against that. Eventually, they stopped doing that for the most part. They do have some high-tech X-ray machines, different types of ways to try to identify if you're shipping illegal goods, that type of thing. So I suggest you don't do that. There are rules that they must adhere to. So these shall be exempted, provided that they're not in commercial quantities. So you're not, and I'm sure it happens. You're shipping goods over for the Filipino to sell in their store over here, something like that. If they're not intended for barter, sale, or hire, these are accompanying them on the return or arriving within 60 days after the owner's return, and limited to the FCA or FOB, freight on board, value of 350,000 pesos for those who have stayed abroad for at least 10 years and not availed of this privilege within the 10 years. 250,000 for those who stayed abroad for 5 years, at least 5 years, but no more than 10 years, and have not availed this for 5 years, or 150,000 for those who have stayed in abroad for less than 5 years and have not availed this within 6 months prior to their arrival. Now, I'm pretty certain that a lot of these Balikbayan boxes are sent to family, and they're not arriving at all. They're just sending them to family. Any amount in excess of the above stated threshold shall be subject to corresponding duties and taxes. And not going to get into all that. That can get quite complicated. Anyway, in addition to the privileges granted to these people, let's see, and duty-free, home appliances and other durables limited to one of every kind once in a given calendar year, accompanying them on their return or arriving within 60 days after their return upon presentation of their original passport at the port of duty. Any amount in excess of the 150,000 pesos or of the number of tax duty-free appliances shall be subject to corresponding taxes. Now, 150,000 pesos at the present rate of 50 pesos to the US dollar is about 3,000 US dollars. And if you, whatever country you're from, you can convert that dividing the exchange rates. So there are additional. What is the extent of duty of tax-free privilege for overseas Filipinos? I know that I've seen some of these expats open Balikbayan boxes, and Filipinos open Balikbayan boxes online. And it might be canned goods, it might be clothing, it might be school supplies, office supplies, a number of different things. But here are some limitations of items. You can read through some of that if you would like. I went online and I did a search for Balikbayan shippers, box shippers, and they will vary. The companies who do this will vary depending upon the country that you are from. I had somebody mention this company quite a while back, I believe, and so we're just going to go down and take a look at some of the information. There are many different ones. Do a search online. Forex, which surprised me, Forex came up, F-O-R-E-X. It's where I go to get a lot of my money exchange rate information. But Balikbayan boxes, okay, let's go down here. Drop-off prices. And this is, go down here to the bottom. Prices vary. In certain provinces Alas, cargo does not deliver in some provinces. Prices displayed are valid only in Southern California and Nevada only. So keep that in mind. So if you're in Arizona, or some other state, but these are drop-off prices, and they've got 3 different size boxes. The tippet box gives you your dimensions. If you're shipping to Manila, if you're shipping to Luzon, and looks like you'd have to, for that small box, you'd have to get a special price asterisk there. Regular size box, there's the dimensions. These are the sizes, and the nice thing about this is you get a flat rate for Balikbayan boxes, and you can fill it as full and as heavy as you can, and be sure to strap it up well so that it doesn't bust open. And the jumbo box, and you basically buy the box for these amounts of money, and then you can put anything in it, and it may take, I've read 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Presently, what's happening all over the world, there's with freight disruptions and supply line disruptions, there's a big backup in many ports, so it's taking much longer. So if you want something to arrive by Christmas in the Philippines, you probably want to ship it very early. Now, I saw somebody putting a Christmas tree up the other day here, what is 3rd week of August. September in the Philippines, they will start playing Christmas music and putting up Christmas decorations in the malls, although this is going to be a very poor Christmas season for the stores, I believe, because there's just who has money. Well, so many people are out of work because of the economic shutdowns. Pickup prices, if you want the, and we'll bounce over to Forex. Many of you are familiar with Forex. They're big in the money business, but they also do shipping, Balikbayans. So you can check out their site. You can schedule something for pickup, and drop down here to the details page. Actually, I think this is the company somebody mentioned a long time ago in a comment. Atlas, not Alas. But anyway, they're both shipping companies. And just take a look down here. They've got a app you can download. You can schedule a pickup at your place, or some places have stores, places that you can drop them off at too. I came across this page, internet page, Guide to Boxes and Rates, published rates for Los Angeles. Down here, Virginia warehouse, a jumbo box, $85, regular box, $75. Virginia, and they give different, they're again, different size boxes. They give the dimensions there, the different rates. Forex Blue non-commercial box. Most of you would be shipping non-commercial, I believe. And here's another company, LBC. I believe they're one of the largest shipping companies in the Philippines anyway. And you can ship documents or non-documents. Here they have the various sizes. And they, again, have an app for your phone that you can download and set up, and they've got some guidelines down here on sealing. And I came across this site, interesting, Metro Box Cargo. They operate in, I think, mostly Northern California. But I did a search for prohibited items. There are a number of sources, and you can do the same thing, do a search. As always, sometimes you come up with old items, and a lot of these things aren't not dated. This could be 10 years old, and there might be an updated list listing more things. But anyway, misbranded articles of, well, let's go. While prescription drugs issued by licensed physicians in the corresponding value and quantity are allowed, along with maintenance supplements, there are specific drug paraphernalia that are subject to the Food and Drugs Act. Now, misbranding articles of food, adulterations, and or misbranding drugs. Now, you do have to fill out a a bill of lading, uh, bill of contents that you'll be asked to fill out and list it. And if you're shipping, for instance, brand new computer, something like that, they might want to charge you a customs fee. If it's a used computer, it's something else. You need to, if you're like anything used, used clothing, shoes, different things, you have to list some type of value to those. And they may or may not disagree that. They may or may not agree with that. They may dispute what you list. I don't know how often they actually open up a package to check. That would be interesting if any of you have that type of experience. Anyway, habit-forming drugs, makes sense, narcotics. Merchandise that are considered unlawful, obscene, or from embargoed countries. Even trademark copyright articles are prohibited from being sent through Balikbayan. These include pirated media in discs, DVD. There are lots of pirated media being sold up and down the streets of the Philippines, I guarantee you that. And here's another list of things you can send and you cannot send. It's a bit dated, several years. But anyway, it is a list, so I suggest you do your own due diligence as well, and what you can bring in, what you can't bring in. And they even have down here, which is interesting, child care articles. How much quantity allowed? 5 kilograms. Toy is 10 pieces. Now I suspect that this is old and this has changed since then. Kilograms of different things. Is anybody going to actually weigh that out? I'm guessing not, but it's good to know. Medical devices, except those used for maintenance, insulin, 1 piece of each type. Pregnancy test kits, 1 type of each. Toys, 10 pieces. Over-the-counter drugs, 50 grams. Prescription drugs, whatever is specified on your prescription. Vitamin supplements, 500 grams in total. Now, vitamins are pretty, I'm looking at a Kirkland large 500 tablets. Does it tell me how many grams? I do not find any gram listing. And if you really want to dig into it, go back to the Bureau of Customs and go over to their Bureau of Customs regulated imports list, and they've got sorted by products, sorted by category, sorted by regulatory agency, and other information as well. I have read that there are about 350 to 400 Balikbayan boxes in the average container that is put on a ship to ship over here. I've read that if Customs finds one suspect package in that group, in that container, they will inspect a good number of those, and it will hold up that process. I am interested in you guys' experience, shipping companies you've used around the world, and shipping times, costs, good experiences, bad experiences, so please leave the comments. And look forward to getting that information. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope that helped clear up. There's so much out there that you just need to do some of your own research if you're going to ship. And please share your experiences with the rest of us. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.